Now, have you ever felt we're not alone? Well, that there's some form of other life out there? Well, this next story is just for you then.
We've come across never-before-seen home video that cannot be explained. In it are what appear to be 2 UFOs. We sent our man Simon to investigate.
Now, Simon, these days those UFO stories seem to be kind of everywhere, right? What makes this one different?
Laz, look, oftentimes the people who present this footage aren't necessarily, shall we say, the most credible of witnesses. I think, you know, the odd roo is loose in the top paddock. But in this case, this is really interesting. You make your own minds up.
What on earth are these 2 black shapes over the water? Nick Brent, who recorded them on his camcorder, would just love to know.
If you go out and you tell everybody what you've seen, they're going to think you're a fruitcake.
At 68, Nick isn't a man given to overstatement. A successful businessman, a grandfather, and with wife Janice, a contented cruise passenger that evening in Noumea. He's not looking for money or notoriety.
I'm guessing if you were in the States, you'd be potentially making an awful lot of money out of this on Oprah or something like that. But we're very glad that you spoke to us.
Yeah, well, we're not in it for that, but I'm just really curious. I've got an open mind on the subject.
There's a lovely and a very Australian moment in all of the excitement.
There's 2 of them. They're not bloody birds. There's 2 of them.
I can see this movie being called They're Not Bloody Birds. I think that would be good.
Doug Moffat is spokesman for UFO Research New South Wales. When Nick returned from his cruise, Doug got the phone call.
I think one of the things that struck me about Nick was the sincerity and genuineness of who he is, and the fact that he was just genuinely curious to know what it was that he'd seen. There we have the first object with part of an island here. We have the second object coming in. You can see that they appear to be, this is far more cylindrical.
One of the theories that was proposed is maybe kite surfers. What do you say about that?
Well, I think this is moving far too fast to be a kite. Also, it has, one would imagine that a kite would have more of an opaque nature to the actual sheeting.
It really is the darndest thing. The more you see the roughly 40 seconds of footage, the more detail you pick up. There's no image manipulation, and definitely no easy explanation for these whatever they are.
We have to accept that people, genuine, credible people who are not stupid, who are not making things up, are seeing things that have no genuine explanation.
Where that point is over there, I'd say it was at least that. So I'm pitching at figures, but I think at least 1.5 kilometres.
We live in a time where cameras and video cameras are in phones and everywhere. Nick's footage will join a growing resource of vision that's in its own category.
What we need to do is, rather than laugh at it or dismiss it because it doesn't fit our paradigm, we need to sort of say, okay, what is it that this person's saying? Give this person the right to be believed.
I think, like many people, I want to believe in something else out there. Do a YouTube search for UFOs and just see what happens. It's fascinating to contemplate the prospect of other life forms. And while Nick and Doug know that this vision doesn't prove anything, you are left wondering.
Then when they started to move, the speed that they moved up past the back of this other boat, bit of a head scratcher. Yeah. We're not the only grain of sand on the beach, and I look at it from that point of view.
His battery ran out sort of halfway through that. So he got this roughly 40 seconds of footage, kind of went down to have drinks later that evening, you know, with everyone scratching. And a couple of other people said they saw something, but they weren't sure what it was. You know, I'm a bit of a skeptic with some of this stuff, but I am damned if I know what those things are.
We've ruled out kite surfing Somali pirates.
Yeah, yes. And they do move very quickly as well. Like I say, you do have to watch that over and over and again, and then you actually see the strange sort of behaviour of these things and the size of them as well. See in the foreground there, you see the scale of that. That's a barge.
So it's not like a small sailboat or something like that?
No, absolutely moving far too fast.
Yeah. So what are you saying then, Simon? I mean, you said you're a skeptic.
I'm completely cracking up, Mon.
Okay, do you believe this? You're a believer?
Look, I think having watched this, I have no idea what those are. They're not glad bags, as our director Jackie just possibly pointed out. I don't know what they are. I have no idea, Mom. Like I say, people will make their own minds up at home. But and Nick's like, you know, here's the footage. He didn't. We actually sought him out. Stephanie, our researcher, tracked him down, and he'd handed it over already to Doug. Didn't ask for any money. He said, look, you know, you guys might be interested in this. So.
Yeah, and that was in Noumea.
That's right.
Very nice. Any excuse for a junket, eh, Simon? I wonder where the next UFO sighting might be. The Maldives?
San Francisco would be good.
I've been on that. I remember on First Hour of the Fun Ship after a 4-hour happy hour, I saw some crazy stuff too. Didn't have the video camera handy. Thank you, Simon.
Thank you very much. Something to ponder. All right.
The British government has declassified thousands of pages of secret files on UFO sightings. Errol Barnett joins us with much more on this.
Absolutely. Here we go, Aisha. Boom. This, the largest declassification. Well, this is only 500 pages, but this is the largest declassification of UFO reports by Britain's National Archives ever. They had more than 6,000 pages. You can see here sketches, eyewitness accounts, investigations, all of this from the mid-90s to the dawn of this century. Now, what does it contain? Well, the reports include individual sightings of large, silent blue triangle-shaped aircraft to reports of tubes of light one man said he was able to walk through. He says he later developed a skin condition. And other reports are by groups of people, including a fishing group who tracked an object on their radar before it vanished. Even police officers in England caught a UFO on video at the same time that the Royal Air Force detected an unidentified blip on their radar, but that was later identified as stars and bright planets, attributing the blip to a, quote, permanent echo created by a church spire.
Hello?
Okay, it also finds that the standard UFO descriptions change from a saucer disc to a more triangular shape over time. So it's a very comprehensive and detailed report, and this is just 500 pages of it.
Yeah, they've been cited all over the place, and I saw some people describing them as a kind of Toblerone.
Yeah.
Chocolate bar.
Swiss chocolate
bar. Yeah, which kind of made me laugh. But anyway, does this report, from everything you've read, do you feel it kind of, you know, puts people's mind at ease, put them at rest, or does it just fan, you know, the flames of speculation, so to speak?
Well, both, actually. This is the most popular story on CNN.com right now. When we look through the more than 500 comments, people are split down the middle from those who do and don't believe that we've been visited by extraterrestrial life. Now, in the past, many of these sightings, though, they've turned out to be secret government tests of aircraft. We remember the stealth bomber, for example. At the same time, fictitious programs and movies like Star Trek and Star Wars, they've really captured the imagination of millions of people who want to believe. So you can read, if you're interested, this massive report for yourself.
We have 500 pages for you if you like.
It's a lot, and they actually have it in downloadable bits of a few hundred pages or so, and I'm going to, as soon as I leave you, tweet the link to viewers, so perhaps maybe one of our viewers will find, you know, the smoking gun in this report. But really, this is kind of a report to kind of open up the documents and the investigations, but there was one incident where there were some near misses, where a British Airways pilot and a cabin crew saw an identified object, and the investigation was unconclusive or inconclusive. So it's just more of the same.
Yeah, wow. I thought you were going to say, as soon as you leave me, you're going to set about reading all 500 pages.
Absolutely
Then
not.
Our viewers would have been impressed.
That's why I'm tweeting it, so our viewers can read a page off you.
Lazy.
Welcome to Earth.
All right, get Will Smith on the horn, folks. We may be one step closer to just that kind of close encounter, I'm telling you. NASA's new Kepler spacecraft detecting hundreds of planets that they believe have the potential to support alien life forms. It is studying more than 150,000 stars, and that's just in one small patch of the sky, okay? If the 700-plus candidates are actually planets, it could triple the number of known planets in deep space. This is so fascinating to me. Corey Powell is the editor-in-chief of Discovery Magazine. Hey, Corey, how are you?
So life in the universe. How can I possibly do better?
I was just saying to you, I just saw the Hubble IMAX movie the other day, And it just blows your mind, the potential for what's out there. And this Kepler telescope is even further out than the Hubble.
Right. It's even further out than the Hubble, and it's doing things that human eyes can't do.
Yeah.
You mentioned it's watching 156,000 stars, look at every single one of them every 30 minutes, and watching for just a tiny little blip of light when a planet passes in front of its star.
That's what I think is so neat, because they test the brightness of the star.
Exactly.
And then they know if it's in an orbit of something, if a planet's passing around it, and that gives them some indication of whether or not it's a system.
Right. So basically, it's the shadow of a planet that's trillions of miles away, sweeping across. It takes a few minutes, and that tells you about how big the planet is, about how close it is to the star. You can start to figure out some basic characteristics, and then you wait about another 3 or 4 years until the James Webb telescope goes up. This is the successor to the Hubble, and then this will tell you if the planets are there. The James Webb telescope will actually be able to tell you what they're like, if there are actual signs of life on any of these.
So they're basically going to narrow it down with these 706. They'll do these tests and keep looking at it, and then they'll determine which ones potentially could be planets, perhaps with life on them, to focus on those?
Right, and then, like I said, then it'll probably take somewhere around 2014, 2015, this new telescope called the James Webb telescope will actually zero in on them, will be able to tell you, like, this planet has water, this planet is the right temperature for life. You think about it, people have been asking these questions for thousands of years.
Forever.
In less than 5 years, we're going to know.
Isn't that amazing?
It blows my mind.
What do you think? I mean, when I looked at the Hubble IMAX movie, which I highly recommend, it was amazing. You look at all these, births of stars and all these deep spaces with tons of stuff in them, planets and stars, and you think, why would it be just us?
Right, you think about, it really depends. Do you believe that we live in a wasteful universe or a meaningful universe? I personally think it's a meaningful universe, that whatever happened here probably happened over and over again. Like you said, there are about 200 billion stars just in our galaxy. We're looking, this Kepler mission is looking at just a tiny sliver of what's in our backyard. And this is the very first results from it, from just 43 days of looking. They have 706 new planets.
And they're saying they're getting it much faster than they ever thought they were going to, this information. Why is that?
Right. Well, we've never really had a telescope like this before, so people didn't even know exactly what was going to happen. Basically, it takes incredible computer power. You need to be above Earth's atmosphere so you don't get clouds and all the distortion. People have never done this before, and so it's the first time we're really looking at the stars with an eye toward finding how many Earths are there out there, and could they support life? And of course, then what you really want to know is, is E.T. out there? And we're hoping he's not going to require Will Smith to come send him back where he came from.
I love this stuff. I think it's fascinating. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. So
it's an amazing story.
We'll see what they learn, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Corey.
Thank you.
Great to see you.
And we're stocking up on Reese's Pieces just in case.